Okay, so we are starting part 10, SOS, and the book we've been reading is Grace Stirs It Up. It's one of the American Girl stories that Tori picked out. And Tori, can you tell us briefly what we've read so far?
That Grace's mom and Grace came back from Paris.
And what did they do while they were in Paris?
A baking business.
Okay. Well, her aunt and her aunt's family had a baking business, and they went there mainly because what was the reason for going there? What did the aunt do?
She was going to have a baby.
She was going to have a baby, and I think she did have the baby while she was there. Now Grace wants to have this baking business with her friends. Okay. Before I met up with my friends, I found a black and white polka dotted ribbon in my mom's sewing supplies. I made a little bow with it. Oh, we forgot the most important part. Who did she bring home from Paris?
Bonbon.
And Bonbon is a
dog.
There you go, good. I made a little bow with it and tied it on Bonbon's collar. We were ready. Before heading out, I snapped the photo. Click. Okay, so remember, as I'm reading, you're making a picture in your mind. Okay, so we read that part already, but let's make a picture in our mind so we can retell our story, okay? Bonbon snuffled and sniffed her way out without any problem for 7 blocks. But the moment we walked up Ella's driveway toward her greenhouse with overflowing flower boxes, well, my well-behaved little dog turned into a wild dog. Bonbon's yipping and yapping turned and shrilled as nails on a blackboard as she strained at the end of her leash. "No, Bonbon, settle down," I said. "No barking." Quickly, I reached into my pocket for a dog treat, but she didn't see it. Her whole body was fixated on Murphy, the shaggy gray dog that was twice her size. Okay, the word fixated means like she was staring at it and couldn't focus on anything else. Okay? At the other end of Murphy's leash, Ella hung on as her dog bounded towards us, pulling Ella behind her in her shorts and tennis shoes. She looked taller, with her copper brown legs, and longer than the start of the summer. So as I'm picturing, I'm picturing Grace trying to hold Bonbon's leash back, and Ella's struggling to hold them so the dogs didn't come together and overexcited or fight. They didn't know how they were going to react. But I had that picture going in my mind. "Murphy," she scolded. Do you know what scolded means?
She shouted?
Yeah, shouted, yelled at. Flipped her long black braid over her shoulder. Trailing after them was Maddie, and her wavy red hair kissed with the sun, and her face and arms and legs sporting more freckles than I remember. So I'm picturing, they haven't seen each other in a couple of months. The summer was like 2 months. They're back towards the end of the summer. It's 2 months. And she's seeing her friends differently. She's seeing them tanner, and she's seeing them taller. So she's noticing things about them. "Hi, Maddie. Hi, Ella," I shouted above the ruckus. "This is Bonbon." Ruckus is kind of like all the commotion that's going on. When we let the dogs get close enough to sniff noses, Bonbon stopped yipping. I was ready to pull back on her leash if either dog started acting mean, but as I squatted down, Bonbon finally caught sight or scent of the treat that I had held in my hand. She sat down and looked up at me. "Good dog," I said, and offered her a treat. Murphy caught on fast. He sat down too, and I gave him a treat as well. Seconds later, the treats were already forgotten, and the dogs were yipping at each other again. Their backs turned into hairbrushes, bristles up. Uh-oh. But I soon saw that along with the growling and the whining, Bonbon was wagging her tail too. So when my dog, when we come home, my dog might bark or whatever, but he's always wagging his tail. So when he wags his tail, that means he's happy or it's okay. So as much as they're yipping and barking, their tails are wagging. So it's kind of like a friendly and an excited kind of yipping and barking. "She's confused," I said, then joked. "Maybe dogs speak a different language in Paris." Ella laughed. Murphy started wagging his tail too, a good sign as the 2 dogs began to circle and sniff and sniff. Bonbon lowered her head and to her paws, her little rump in the air, her tail keeping time. So her tail keeping time, meaning it just kept wagging. She didn't stop. "I think she wants to play," I said. Let's take them to the backyard instead of walking them, Ella suggested. That way, they can play and work on their doggy language. Ella's backyard was framed by a tall wooden fence, perfect for a doggy play date. Soon, Bonbon and Murphy were taking turns chasing each other around the swing set, sandbox, and tire swing. So I'm picturing the backyard. There's a fence all around the whole thing, and there is a sandbox and a play yard or a swing set, and they even have a tire swing. So that's probably a lot of fun. Would you like a backyard like that? Yeah. The backyard was usually occupied by one or all of Ella's 3 old brothers, a set of triplets. But as we were settled into the red Adirondack chairs, Ella explained that they were all inside napping. Mom decided to do the same, she said with a grin. So why do you think Mom decided to take a nap when the boys were napping?
Because she was working from day. Maybe she's tired.
Okay. So sometimes when your little sister lays down to take a nap, does Mommy kind of rest too? Yeah. It's a lot of work, especially triplet boys. They seem active. I nearly bounced on the edge of my chair, eager to share my new business idea with my friends. But first, I had to answer all their questions about Bonbon and listen as they told me about wakeboarding on the Lake Liberty. Ella giggled. You should have seen Maddie's wipeout. My wipeout? What about your face plant? Maddie replied with a laugh. Okay, so think about what's going on here. Where was Grace for the most of the summer?
Paris.
In Paris by herself. And then where were Maddie and Ella?
They were at home.
Well, they were on vacation together. Remember, they were at Lake Liberty? Okay, so they talked about some of the things they were doing, wakeboarding, and that's kind of like you're on a long, thin, like a surfboard kind of thing, but you're not surfing, and you're just like paddling it. That's a wakeboard. And then they also were talking about like the fun things they did, like, wiping out in the lake and face planting and things. And Ella's like, I was just trying to avoid those ducks. And she said, you wakeboarded too. You wakeboarded too? Grace asked. She'd never even been brave enough to try it in the past. Oh no. She dropped her gaze to the grass and then looked up. I was going to jump off the end of the dock. Just as I pushed off, a bunch of little mallards shot out from under the dock. I thought I was going to land on them. So I did. Maddie interrupted. She did what is known as a famous Ella twist. Ella nodded. To avoid them, I did the giant belly flop instead. Awesome, Maddie said. They both started giggling again. I smiled, but I felt completely left out. They had 5 weeks of fun without me. They shared laughs and moments over the summer that I would never know about. Okay, so let's think about that. We're going to stop right now. So here you are coming back from Paris, and you're all excited. And you had a great time with your family, and you have this great idea. And now your friends are talking about the fun time they had. And this was the first time that you weren't with them in the summer when they did all these fun things. How do you think Grace was feeling?
Upset.
Upset. Not like sad, like she's gonna cry, but just like she kind of like felt left out. Okay? All right, so why don't you think back, replay that picture in your mind, okay, of what we read, starting with when she gets to Ella's house. Think back, replay that movie in your mind, okay? And when you have that movie just set, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to replay or retell that movie to me.
So the Bonbon and Ella's dog Murphy, they were all like trying to chase each other, or they were trying to get each other.
Mm-hmm.
But they both held them back.
Mm-hmm.
And then Grace is like, this is Bonbon. And she told them about Bonbon. And then Ellie and
Maddie,
they were talking about all the fun times in the summer.
okay. So what happened between the part where they were trying to hold each other back and then Ella and Maddie were talking. Where did they go? Remember they were going to go for a walk, but they decided not to. Where did they go?
Lake house.
Well, that's where Maddie and Ella went on vacation. But remember the part where they decided not to go for a walk? They just went where? Into Ella's backyard? Okay. And can you just give me a glimpse of what the black backyard is like?
It has a sandbox, a swing, a tire swing, and a playground.
Okay, a swing set, right. I think I said playground first in my movie. Okay, so then now picture Maddie and Ella all excited talking about their trip, and then picture how you think Grace is feeling at this point.
Like maybe like a little like left out.
A little left out, yeah. So has she told them about her idea yet?
No.
No, not yet. Okay, so that's more to come. Okay, we're gonna stop there for time's sake.